Japanese submarine slammed 2 torpedoes into her side, Chief. He was coming back from the island of Tinian to Leyte. We just delivered the enriched uranium for the Hiroshima bomb. 1,100 men went into the water. Vessel went down in 12 minutes. Didn't see the first shark for about half an hour. Tiger. 13-footer. You know how you know that in the water, Chief? You can tell by looking from the dorsal to the tail. What we didn't realize until the first official statement was that the distress calls weren't keyed by the radio operators and possibly even actually transmitted. Still, no evidence has developed that any distress message from the ship was received by any ship, aircraft, or shore station. When the ship failed to reach Leyte on July the 31st, as scheduled, no report was made that our ship was overdue. Very first light, Chief. Sharks come cruisin'. So we formed ourselves into tight groups. It was kind of like you see in the calendars, you know, the infantry squares in the old calendars, like the Battle of Waterloo, and the idea was the shark come to the nearest man, that man he starts pounding and hollerin', and sometimes that shark he'd go away, but sometimes he wouldn't go away. Sometimes that shark, he looks right at you, right into your eyes. You know the one thing about a shark? He's got lifeless eyes, black eyes, like a doll's eyes. When he comes at you, he doesn't even seem to be living until he bites you. And those black eyes roll over white, and then you hear that terrible high-pitched screamin'. The ocean turns red, and despite all the pounding and the hollerin', they all come in and they rip you to pieces. You know, by the end of that first dawn, lost 100 men. I don't know how many sharks, maybe 1,000. I don't know how many men. They averaged 6 an hour. On Thursday morning, Chief, I bumped into a friend of mine, Herbie Robinson, from Cleveland, baseball player. Boson's mate. I thought he was asleep. I reached over to wake him up. He bobbed up and down in the water. He was like a kind of top. Upended. Well, he'd been bitten in half below the waist. At noon the 5th day, a Mr. Lockheed Ventura swung in low, and he saw us. He was a young pilot, a lot younger than Mr. Hooper. Anyway, he saw us, and he come in low, and 3 hours later, a big fat PBY comes down and starts to pick us up. You know, that was the time I was most frightened, waiting for my turn. I'll never put on a life jacket again. So, 1,100 men went into the water, 316 men come out. Sharks took the rest. 12:14 a.m. on July the 30th, 1945. Anyway, we delivered the uranium for the bomb.